Good morning. I'm doing great. It's beautiful here in Central Florida. Sure thing. Well, it's all my husband's fault. Um, 27 years ago, we were on vacation at a resort in Florida, and my children were 5 and 9 at the time, and I had been playing in the pool with them, and we had some friends come over to visit us for the day, and I'll never forget it. After the kids got done, I went over to stand in the pool with the adults, and my husband said, "You'll never believe what Marsha's doing." And I said, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I understand Marsha was an airline attendant. She was a flight attendant for the then TWA Airlines. She and her husband were no kids, and they flew once a month somewhere in the world. So they had a very glamorous life. They just come back from Tahiti, I think, the week before. And he said, "She's doing Mary Kay." And I like to tell the story and say, well, down south we have a saying. Whenever somebody tells you something that you kind of don't believe, you go, "Well, isn't that nice?" Now, first off, isn't a word, but we say, "Isn't that nice?" And we don't mean, "Isn't that nice?" And so I said, "Well, isn't that nice?" And then he said, "We've been talking and we think you'd be really good at this." And I said, "Oh, isn't that nice?" And then he said, "I have set an appointment for you in the morning to go meet her director and talk to her about Mary Kay." And I said, "Oh, isn't that nice?" But I was raised to be polite, so I smiled at Marcia and said, "Well, what time do I need to be there?" And that was when I got started. I went to hear this woman talk to me about Mary Kay, knew immediately this was what I'd been looking for, and signed up to become a consultant. And the first month I was in Mary Kay, back then the rules were different, and you had to earn your car before you could become a director. So the first month I was in Mary Kay, I went on target for my car, earned my car, and became a sales director in the first 7 months I was in the company. And that's how I got started. So it's my husband's fault. Well, first off, I have to give a shout out to the heroes at UnitWise. I have to honestly say that you guys offer the best customer service of any company that I've ever dealt with, ever dealt with. I mean, pick up the phone and call, you answer questions, no matter how insignificant they may seem. Y'all are just great at that. And it's just what I would say, it was just a company that encompasses everything. Just like Mary Kay, we can do all your skincare and glamour needs, then UnitWise can do all of your needs for to run your unit, to run your customers, everything. I mean, it's all right there in a nutshell. So yeah, it's awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm still not using all of the tools. I'm still learning, and I'm surprised every day as I go, "Oh, UnitWise does that too." So it's like everything in one spot. I don't know if famous is a great word. It's just um, Jumpstart was, I started it, like, I was trying to remember up how long I've been doing it. I think 18 years now. First year that I started it, we had 21 that came, and people asked me why I did it, and I'm honestly going to tell you, the Lord told me to do it. He said, "Do this retreat," and so I had no idea that it would grow like it is. We kind of have to max out at around 165 to 175, because reality is that's all the kitchen can cook for. The kitchen staff, I think what makes it different, if you ask me, I would tell you number one is it's a family affair. By family, I mean literally my family. My mom, who is 81 and is a twin, and she and her twin and her other three sisters come and do all the cooking for me, plus a cousin. All the meals are home cooked. Glenn still talks, I think, about the food that we had. But people tell me all the time the food alone is worth the price of the ticket. I try to keep the price reasonable so that everybody can come. It's very comfortable. I honestly don't have a dress code. It's like, I don't care, come, because I think that breaks down barriers. for people to be able to come and get really comfortable. We work to, we strive for a small group feel, really strive for that. And of course, I'm not going to do an event that's not fun. So I throw in a lot of fun. I mean, we dance, we do games, we do, it's all party with a purpose. And my big goal is to change hearts, to change what's inside. I think we have enough knowledge, we have enough training, we know how to book, we know how to coach and sell and recruit. We just don't do enough of it. So the change has to be on the inside. So I think that's probably the change. The people that come back year after year, and they bring people every year. So I think that's a good testament. But yeah, it's a pretty good event, I think. Different, but good. Way down on the Swanee River. Yep, the deep woods of North Florida. I grew up in North Florida. People often think that because I live in Kissimmee now, that they ask me where I'm from, and they guess every southern state but Florida. For some reason, they don't think Florida's in the South. But yeah, but we grew up with yes ma'am and no sir, and moss and grits and all that good stuff. So I'm a southerner to the core. Mustang, yep, was my 14th car. Proud to have it. That's a great lesson for y'all if you're working for a car, because we were in a Cadillac and I got away from tracking, which is a key ingredient to growing. So I'm telling you this so you can learn from my mistakes. And shocker for me is as we approached the end of the quarter, when I looked up, I was like, oh my gosh, I am just a couple of star orders away from the Cadillac. But because I didn't track it, we didn't get it. So that was a great lesson for me. So guess what I'm doing now? I'm tracking again. So track, please. Keep up with what you're doing. Accountability. Sure, but I do. Glenn showed me the UnitWise app for my phone, which I had not been using, so I have that on my phone now to use that. And Voxer is huge for us. I think Voxer is one of the best inventions ever for communicating with your people without getting into long conversations. You can give them short, uplifting messages. I have groups that I work with Voxer, where I send them a message usually daily. My people that are on my moving up team that want to be directors in the next few months, I'm working very closely with those. But of course, I'm still old school enough that I use a daily tracker, a brain book, if you will, because for me, when I actually physically write it down, that helps me so much to physically see it in front of me. Doing the 6 most important things list that Mary Kay gave us, taught us years ago to do, but when I write it down the night before, it makes a big difference. But just tracking, putting who I need to call, working, yeah. When I don't track, I don't grow. So what Mary Kay taught us was a tracked number grows. Whether you're writing down what you're going to do the next day, or tracking your sales, or tracking your interviews, or tracking your bookings, anything tracked grows. It's in because in 1999 I went to a routine mammogram, and the follow up, and heard the doctor say those words that no woman ever wants to hear, and that is, I'm sorry to tell you that you have breast cancer. And my breast cancer journey. Now, he recommended a mastectomy, and he actually even went ahead and scheduled it for the next morning. And later on, we had a conversation about that, and the doctor said, well, I just thought you were a take charge kind of woman and that you would want to get this over with and done. And I said, well, I am a take charge kind of woman, but I'm also an educated researcher, and I research everything first. And I ended up working with Mary Kay. Some of the nationals immediately got me in to the cancer center in Dallas. That Mary Kay has a wing named after her there. And on the advice of the doctors there, I did not have a mastectomy, and that's been in gosh, going on 14 years, coming up on 14 years ago. But I did end up having chemo and radiation, and that was, I call that my joyful journey. I think the Lord allowed me to do that so that I could bless other women. And in doing so, I've had the privilege of talking to women through the last few years that have all undergone a breast cancer journey. My advice to everyone is that you are at risk if, number one, you have breast, you're at risk of breast cancer. I come from a huge family. I was the first person ever in my family to be diagnosed with breast cancer. No history there. I didn't hit any of the warning signs that they give you for being at risk for breast cancer. So you're at risk. Be smart. Do your monthly exams. There is actually an app out there that's called it's called I Heart My Boobies, and it's an app that will remind you once a month. You put a date in there to do your monthly exam. Do your monthly exam. But in my breast cancer journey, doors opened for me to talk to women, and that I would have not otherwise been able to talk to. And I like to think I make a difference in lives. But it was, I call it my joyful journey because I say the Lord allowed me to go through that to bless others and to be a blessing. And it changed my spiritual journey totally, and what I believed about what the word said about healing. And if you go to my UnitWise site and you look under Deborah's favorites, I have posted there. The first thing posted there is the healing scriptures, because I think there's all kind of healing, and you need to know those. But yeah, it still to this day remains my joyful journey that I was allowed to take, um, because I say what Satan meant for bad, God turned to good. Sure, one piece. Wow, to sum up 27 years in one piece. That's a tough one, Charles. Okay, I actually have to sum it up in two little pieces of advice. Number one is consistent. If I could tell you the one thing that I regret in my Mary Kay business most of all is that I was not more consistent, that I didn't do something every day or on the days that I had set it aside, that I worked consistently and diligently toward a goal, whether it is getting one booking a day or even, whatever your goals are, selling $100 a day, being consistent about that and tracking it. And the second piece of advice I would give you is to let this journey be joyful, to bring joy to other women, whether it's just a smile and a compliment, or whether it's changing their life through this menu of Mary Kay, to do it with joy. And that would be my two pieces of advice. Y'all too, Charles, and everybody, just be blessed. Go out and make it an awesome day. Toodaloo.